Hello, thank you for joining us for the BPM Change Management PRR Review Monthly Meeting. My name is Nicole Hines, representing the ISO Customer Readiness Team, and I will be facilitating today's web conference. Today's call is being recorded. These recordings are for informational and convenience purposes only. Any related transcription should not be reprinted without the ISO's permission. As a reminder, these monthly calls are structured to stimulate an honest dialogue and engage in different perspectives. And while we welcome comments and questions, please remember to keep comments professional and respectful. We will be taking questions throughout the call today. If you are not logged into the WebEx and dialed in on the phone only, dial *3 to enter the question queue. If you are connected your audio through the WebEx platform, please open the participants panel and use the raise hand icon located in the lower right corner of that panel to enter the question queue. Please introduce yourself before asking your questions, and if you need technical assistance today during the call, please send a chat message to the event producer. The purpose of today's meeting is to discuss the proposed revision requests that are in the initial or recommendation stage of the process. We will be discussing a total of 14 PRRs today. 13 are in the initial stage and 11 are in the recommendation stage, and all PRRs were submitted by the ISO. The purpose of the BPMs are to set forth in business practice manuals that implement the ISO tariff, and every year we conduct a yearly policy initiative roadmap to consider and rank initiatives. Policy changes submitted through the PRR process will be referred back to the policy roadmap process, and each area in the BPM is based on enabling language in the ISO tariff. The PRR process cannot be used to introduce changes that are not supported by existing tariff authority. As a reminder, we will be making some changes to the BPM meetings. The date and time intervals for 2025 will be changing. Once we have that change worked out internally, we will send a notice. So in the future, please make sure you check the ISO calendar for upcoming meetings, as well as that notice for when the BPM meeting date and time will be changing. The first BPM we're going to be talking about is demand response. PRR 1614 is in the initial stage, and I will hand that over to Huwaida.
Hi everyone, this is Huwaida Ahmed. Like we said, PRR 1614 is demand response related changes due to the penalty enhancement demand response initiative and tolling, or PEDRIT. We just added the monitoring data due date as well as the sanctions related to late or missing data that was introduced in that PEDRIT enhancement. The effective date was 1/6/2025, so this was submitted as an emergency PRR. We did receive a comment of support from California Efficiency and the Demand Management Council. Our next step is to post the recommendations, and I'll take any questions if anyone has any.
Thanks, Huwaida. The next BPM we will be discussing is the scheduling coordinator certification and termination. PRR 1603 is in the recommendation stage, and PRR 1615 is in the initial stage. This first PRR, I will hand it over to Rochelle.
Nicole. So this is PRR 1603, which provides updates to the training requirements during the scheduling coordinator certification process. A brief overview of these changes. Essentially, scheduling coordinators must now provide a list of employees that will be engaged in those SC activities, along with their roles during the scheduling coordinator onboarding process. All of those employees that are identified by the scheduling coordinator during onboarding must complete CAISO training and testing requirements before onboarding can be completed and certified. It also emphasizes the continuous training requirements. They've been reinforced specifically with staff hired after the onboarding process who are now mandated to complete training, although that training is not going to be tracked by CAISO, and failure to comply with those training requirements may lead to suspension of the SC holder's certification. We did not receive any comments, and the next step is to post the final decision for this PRR. Are there any questions about this? All right, thank you.
Thanks, Rochelle. PRR 1615 is updating the application to include information for the extended day-ahead market. The reason for this revision is to include more information that is required for all of our EDAM entity applications. And we updated the attachment B as well as the BPM to include this additional information as well as clarify the application. This is considered an emergency PRR because the effective date was January 31st, 2025. We did not receive any comments and the initial comment period expired on February 19th. We will be posting the recommendation next. Are there any questions? All right, moving on. The next BPM is reliability requirements. PRR 1602 is in the recommendation stage and 1616 is in the initial stage. And I will hand this over to Melanie.
Nicole, PRR 1602 is clarification on outage reporting scenarios for non-resource specific resource adequacy resources. The reason for this revision was the new update will require a TIGO submission when there is an open tie to get RAIM exemption under section 9.5. This ensures RA imports do not receive RAIM under open tie conditions since they're not allowed to bid. There are no comments, and the next step is to post final decision. The next PRR is 1616, which is the Capacity Procurement Mechanism Track 1. This PRR is submitted in tandem with a pending tariff change for the Capacity Procurement Mechanism Track 1 enhancement. The changes made in this PRR are made to reflect the pending tariff changes into reliability requirements BPM. As a quick summary, these changes to the enhancement will allow greater flexibility in how the CAISO administers the CPM and scheduling coordinators accept a CPM designation. These changes include adjusting the megawatt value of a significant event CPM designation based on pre-existing or new capacity obligations that arise during the term of the CPM designation. Also permit a resource to elect a significant event CPM designation term of less than 30 days, as well as extend the existing deadline for the CAISO to publish a market notice when issuing a CPM designation from 2 business days to 5 business days, and also streamlines the CPM designation report process by posting the report on OASIS and foregoing issuance of a market notice advising of the report's availability. The initial comment period expired and there are no comments, and the next step is to post recommendation. Are there any questions on these PRRs?
Thanks, Melanie. The next BPM we will be discussing is the candidate CRR holder registration. PRR 1604 is in the recommendation stage, and I will hand this over to Rochelle.
Thanks, Nicole. This is PRR 1604. It provides updates to the training requirements during CRR holder registration process. So this PRR mirrors the previous PRR for 1603. The same changes. It shifts from the CRR onboarding process rather than the scheduling coordinator onboarding process. So I'll go over those changes again for you. Just a reminder that CRR holders must now provide a list of all employees that will be engaged in CRR holder activities along with their roles during the onboarding process. All employees identified by the CRR holder during that onboarding process must complete CAISO training and testing requirements before onboarding can be completed and certified. Continuous training requirements are also reinforced as part of this PRR, specifically with staff hired after the onboarding process who are now mandated to complete training, although this will not be tracked by CAISO, and failure to comply with these training requirements may lead to the suspension of the CRR holder certification. This one, along with 1603, are going to be effective as of March 1st in 2025. We did not receive any comments, and that comment period did expire on February 19th, and the next step is to post the final decision. Any questions about this PRR?
As a reminder, to enter the question queue, if you are dialed in by the phone only, please hit *3. If you are dialed into your audio through your WebEx in the participants panel, please use the raise hand icon located in the lower right corner of your screen. All right, thanks, Rochelle. The next BPM we're going to talk about is the generator management BPM. PRR 1605 is in the recommendation stage, and I will hand this one over to Jill.
Thanks, Nicole. This PRR is for updates and clarifications due to the interconnection process enhancements 2023 track 2. It is in the recommendation stage. We did receive recommendation comments from LSA. Several of the comments were just minor clarifications in the language, and we did accept some of those. They did also propose additional language in a few of the sections, which we are not going to implement in the BPM at this time. We will be posting a document responding to all of those comments. The recommendation comment period expired February 19th, and our next step is to post the final decision. Are there any questions about this PRR?
Thanks, Jill. The next BPM we will be discussing is settlements and billing. PRR 1606 and 1608 are both in the recommendation stage, and I will hand this over to Matthew.
Thank you, Nicole. Hello, everyone. Before I jump into individual ones, I want to give you a little background. So these two PRRs are associated to emergency release, and the reason why we had to do emergency release is because these were defects based on releases that we had in summer and in fall of 2024. Starting with the PRR 1606, this has to do with the advisory shutdown, which we deployed end of summer in 2024. Based on a tariff, the resources with deviation outside of a tolerance band during the advisory shutdown are disqualified from receiving minimum load costs. However, via dispute, we received several disputes on this, and we saw that the resources that were within the deviation tolerance band, they were being disqualified, and this is against our tariff. So we had to do this emergency fix. And this is a retro fix, which will go back to August 1st, 2024. Recommendation, we haven't received any comments, and recommendation comment period expired February 19th. And next step is post-final decision. Any question on PRR 1606? PRR 1608 has to do with RAIM, especially with LESR. LESR stands for Limited Energy Storage Resources. This was also deployed, RAIM was deployed in fall of 2024. We received disputes on this, and this dispute has to do with the negative value generic availability associated to LESRs in RAIM assessments. This is also a retroactive fix, which goes back to March 1st of 2023. We haven't received any comments. Recommendation period expired February 19th. Next step is post-final decision. Any questions on PRR 1608?
Thanks, Matthew.
Thank you.
The next two BPMs we'll be talking about is market instruments and market operations. PRR 1609 is in the recommendation stage. PRR 1610 we put in the initial stage for a second time to allow for more comments, and 1611 through 1613 are in the recommendation stage. Both of these BPMs I will hand over to Michael to discuss.
Good morning. It's Michael Martin in operations. So PRR 1609, an update to an existing OASIS report description that convergence bidding is not permitted on interties. We haven't had that for years, and we just updated the BPM to describe that more clearly. We didn't get any comments on this one, and the next step is the post of final decision.
Derek, what was the time? Sorry.
Okay, so on these, can you go back to the description, the list? I'd like to discuss, I'm going to jump over 1610 and 1612. So I want to go to 11 and 13 first, please. So let's go to 1611. So this is a counterpart PR 1611, convergence bidding isn't allowed on the intertie nodes, and this is in the market ops BPM that clarifies this fact. Also, my screen just blacked out for a moment. We didn't get any comments on this one either, and the next step for this is to post the final decision. And then jumping to 1613, describes the market issue for resources providing regulation and when they go off AGC. So we're putting in a clarification that, you know, resources, when you get regulation awards, that you are required to stay on AGC for the entire interval that you have that regulation award. Obviously, this is for operational, you know, needs for regulation. And on this one, we did not receive any comments either. And the next step is to post a final decision. So now let's start at, on 1610, we're going to pause this one again. I'd like to pause it one more time, and because we still have conversations going on this, and we can talk about it here a little bit more. We've got other folks from Market Quality on the call. I did want to jump, so this one's going to pause. 1610, we're going to pause. Let me jump now to 1612. Sorry for all this jumping around, Nicole. 1612, this is a stage 2 resources and the AGC capacity limits. Now, this one is really informational. We're describing how it works. I know we received some comments kind of linking the two. I'm not sure that really gets you any benefit because this is informational. So I'll leave it at that. My recommendation is this one, because it's no change, it's an informational change, that this one should still continue. Okay, so now I'm going to say I'm going to leave it to any questions at this point on 1610 and 1612, I suppose.
As a reminder, if you are dialed by phone, please hit *3 to enter the question queue in the WebEx. Under Participants panel in the lower right-hand corner, please use the raise hand icon. All right, not seeing any hands raised. Thank you, Michael. The next BPM monthly meeting will be on March 25th at 11 a.m. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email us at bpm_cm@CAISO.com. One last call for any questions. Nope, I do see a hand raised. Cindy, go ahead.
Hello, can we go back to PRR 1611, please? And convergence bidding is not permitted on intertie nodes. So I'm trying to understand this one. So it means that it's not permitted, or you're taking out language that it is permitted on intertie nodes.
Convergence may be allowed on, but is not. I guess that in looking at the wording, it is kind of clumsy. It implies that convergence bidding may be allowed on ties, but is not. So we haven't had convergence bidding on interties for quite a while, I believe. And this is a cleanup effort on this and the market instruments BPM.
Okay, so there is no convergence bidding on interties then.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Thanks.
Are there any other questions before we end the call today? All right, I'm not seeing any other hands raised. Thank you very much for joining the call, and I hope you have a great day.